मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथो मद्गुरुः श्री जगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा कृपालु गुरवे नमः। Roopdhyan is loving meditation on the divine form of Sri Radha and Krishna. Without Roopdhyan, we are not practicing devotion. We're not truly practicing devotion. Manera Smarana Pran, says Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that Roopdhyan is the very life of devotional practice. You see, all our actions are performed by the mind. We would be naive to think that our eyes are the ones that see, and that our ears are the ones that hear, that our tongue is the one that tastes. If our mind is preoccupied, if our mind has gone elsewhere, we cannot taste the delicacy. We cannot taste the rasgulla. We cannot hear anyone speaking to us, even from 2 feet away. We cannot see a person standing in front of us if our mind is elsewhere. Mind is a performer of all our actions, good, bad, and devotional. This is why Panchadashi, scripture of Adi Shankaracharya, says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Man hi bandhan evam moksha ka karan hai. Mind is the only reason behind bondage to this world as well as liberation from it. So we must employ our mind, we must use our mind in devotional practice. We should not content ourselves by using our hands to do puja or to do arti. We must not content ourselves in just going physically to Vrindavan and Barsana, Haridwar and other such holy places. We must not content ourselves with just physical worship. Physical worship is not counted as true worship in the eyes of God. The worship done by the mind is true worship. And so Roopdhyan is essential. Yes, last week I spoke about 3 aspects of God. God is Brahm, God is Paramatma, and God is also Bhagvan. Bhagwan aspect of God is the sweetest aspect of God, because in this aspect, God actually comes down to earth with name and form and attributes and loving associates, Sant, and he performs very sweet leelas. We know of so many leelas, so many pastimes of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna when he descends to earth, and Bhagwan Shri Ram when he descends to earth, one and the same. We must put our mind on those leelas. We must think about the form of God. Looking at the murti and just staring at it does not count. We should use the murti, we should use the idol as a basis for our Roopdhyan. The artist who has made this murti has used his imagination, and these are beautiful murtis. We must use these murtis as these idols as the basis of our meditation, for our meditation, and then we must close our eyes and then try to see Shri Krishna in the eyes of the mind. We must meditate on him. To make it easy for us, to make it easier for us, Bhagwan Shri Krishna has said in Bhagvat Puran, Yena kena prakarena manah Krishne niveshayet. It doesn't matter how you think of him. It doesn't matter how the mind thinks of him, but the mind must think about Shri Krishna. This means that Although we don't know really what Lord Krishna looks like, yet we can use our mind, our material mind, to think about Sri Krishna, who is divine in every possible way. Our mind can only go as far as material world is concerned. We cannot think about Sri Krishna, who is divine. We can think about the world. We've seen the world, and we can think about the world. Goswami Tulsidas Ji says, Go gochar jahan lagi man jai, so sab maya jane ubhai. The material mind can only think about the material world, that's all. But here we are telling our mind to think about Sri Krishna, who is divine. How can we do it? Will he accept it? He says, yes, yena kena prakarena. It doesn't matter how you think of me. Everyone who has become a true devotee of Sri Krishna, one who has attained Sri Krishna, everyone, he or she, has thought about Sri Krishna in their own way. Mirabai did Roopdhyan of Shri Krishna in her own way. And we suspect that she would have dressed him up in her mind as a Rajput, because she was from a family of Rajputs, right? If someone is from South India and accustomed to the way that, traditional way of the way people dress in South India, he will think about Shri Krishna as someone as God wearing South Indian attire. Someone from North India will dress him accordingly. Someone from Gujarat will dress him accordingly. And that is all fine. It's all acceptable. It's all accepted by him. We can, in our imagination, in our Roopdhyan, we can dress him up as we like. We're all individuals with our individual tastes, whether it is in the way we dress or in the way we eat. In every possible way, we have our own particular taste. There are 3 kids in the family. Let's say there is a family with 3 kids, husband and wife and 3 children. The mother makes a particular food. One of them says, I love it, Mom. Thank you. Another says, why did you have to make this? I hate it. I'll eat something else. I'll buy something from outside. You got to make me something else. The third one says, I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I'll eat it. One is so happy with the food he's offered. One says, I don't like it at all. One is okay with it, neutral towards it. Because everyone has his or her own particular likes and dislikes. So we can think about God in the way we like. It's difficult enough to think about God. That's a tall order. Think about God. It's very tough. Easy to say, but difficult to do. So we want to make that easiest for us. And Shri Krishna has made it the easiest for us. He could not have made it easier than that. He says, Chalo, chalta hai, sab chalta hai. Think of me any which way. Think of me as having blue skin, dark skin, fair skin, in between. Think of me as having long hair or short hair, curly hair, straight hair. You can think of me as having no ornaments on, or you can think of me wearing many, many ornaments. You can think of me as being very tall or very short or in between. Where age is concerned, we can think of him to be a newborn. We can think of him to be a toddler, an adolescent, a teenager, young adult, middle age, or even very old. Shvetashvatra Upanishad says, Tvam Sri, Tvam Kumar, Tvam Sri, Tvam Puman, Tvam Kumar Utava Kumari, Tvam Jirno Dandena Vanchasi. Bhagvan, you appear in the world in so many different ways. Sometimes you come here in the form of a young man, sometimes as a young woman, sometimes as a young boy, and sometimes as a young girl. Sometimes you appear in the world as a very old man, walking with the help of a stick, a cane, a cane in your hand, and you deceive the world in this way. Dandena vanchasi. So we can think of any age of Shri Krishna, but saints and scriptures. Rasik saints and scriptures recommend that we think of him to be anywhere from a newborn to 16 years of age. But other than that, we have, beyond that, actually, we can go beyond that. We have no restrictions to follow. The age is left up to us. The color of his skin is left up to us. The length of his hair is left up to us. Everything is left up to our imagination. Last week, I was also telling you the importance of bhajans and keertans as we do Roopdhyan, and the importance of going into various relationships with him. So we should take the help of bhajans and keertans. And as we are singing, we must do Roopdhyan. Some people say, first I sing bhajans, then I meditate. Put them both together. Sing the bhajans and keertans, and at the same time do Roopdhyan. Because you see, Roopdhyan, it's difficult to do, meditation is difficult without bhajans and keertans. And if we are doing bhajans and keertans without Roopdhyan, that chanting bears no fruit. We don't gain anything by that chanting, which is just a physical drill of the vocal cords. That's all there is to it. It's not that God says, you know, she sings so well, I'm going to give her bonus marks. There are very good singers in the world. Many people earn a lot of money by singing. Many people are very famous because of singing. Even after they die, people think about them. Oh, Muhammad Rafi is my favorite singer. Oh, Manna Dey, oh, my favorite. And they may be alive. Lata Mangeshkar, my favorite singer. So they earn a lot of money, they earn fame, name and fame, but they don't attain the grace of God just because they're singing beautifully. We don't get bonus points for that. We derive the benefit of keertans and bhajans only and only if we are doing Roopdhyan. If our heart is melting for Bhagwan, that's when we gain the benefit of chanting. Bhagwan Ram says, Mam gun gavat pulak sarira, gad gad gira nayan bahanira. Look out for 3 reactions on your physical body as you chant my names, says the Supreme Lord Bhagwan Shri Ram. He says, first of all, gad gad gira, there should be a lump in your throat as you chant my names. You cannot remain normal while you chant my name. He's our one and only, and we are calling out to him. There must be a lot of emotions in our heart, and those emotions create a lump in the throat. We are not able to sing properly. In fact, Bhagwan Ram says the first reaction he talks about is pulakit. Sharir ka pulkit ho jana. That means you should get goosebumps on your skin. We get goosebumps when we are frightened. We also get goosebumps when we are really, really happy. When we are very moved by something or someone, we get goosebumps. So you should get goosebumps on your skin, reaction number 1. Reaction number 2, a lump in your throat. Reaction number 3, tears falling from the eyes. These 3, you should look out for these 3. If these are not happening, then you are chanting all wrong. If none of this is happening, Bhagwan says, then you are doing something wrong. We are doing something wrong. We're just chanting mechanically. If our voice is not breaking, if we're not getting goosebumps, if there are no tears in the eyes are dry. And all of these reactions, these 3 reactions can only come about if we are thinking of him, if we are thinking loving thoughts about him. We should think about his leelas, his pastimes. We know so many stories about Shri Krishna, don't we? We know him as a butter thief, and we know him as a beloved of the gopis. We know him as a great friend to the cowherders. We know him as a loving son of Nanda and Yashoda, And he has performed every possible pastime to take us into every possible mood. And so Jagatguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj has described so many pastimes in Prem Ras Madira, 1008 bhajans, some of which are in the bhajan books that we are using. Well, only some, very few. 1008 bhajans in Prem Ras Madira. 1008 dohas or couplets in Shama Sham Geet. 11,111 couplets in Radha Govind Geet, which gives us, many of them tell us about the sweetness of Shri Krishna, they talk about pastimes, and many talk about the knowledge, so it's a mixture. Braj Ras Madhuri, 4 parts. 1 was not enough, 2 were not enough, 3 were not enough. There were so many keertans, Shri Maharaji wrote. There are 4 parts to Braj Ras Madhuri. Then there is Yugal Shatak, Yugal Ras, Yugal Madhuri, Shri Krishna Dwadashi, Shri Radha Trayodashi. There are so many bhajans and keertans composed by him. Why did he compose them? Why did he reveal them? Because we need them for us, so that we use them in our Roopdhyan. As we do Roopdhyan, we need help, and they help us tremendously. So we should sing about his pastimes, and at the same time we should meditate on those pastimes. One of the bhajans may say, "Oh, look, Sakhi, there is Shyam Sundar. Look how he is walking. Look at his gait, more graceful than the gait of a royal swan." Well, we were just singing, "Sapno dekhyon raat sakhi ik." And Radharani was describing Shri Krishna. And I sang that especially today because we are learning about Roopdhyan. So as Radharani describes Lord Krishna, and as we sing those lines, those verses, that bhajan, we are to think about Shri Krishna, whose eyes are very nectarian. They're filled with nectar, whose beauty surpasses the beauty of countless Kamdev. The one whose gait is so graceful, the one whose eyes are naturally black and filled with, dripping with nectar, dripping with sweetness, the one who can attract us and steal our heart with one glance, one tiny little glance. When we do Roopdhyan, then the bhajan and kirtan, then they become fruitful. Then we start loving Shri Krishna. That's what we want. What is the purpose of coming to a temple? Not to socialize, certainly not to socialize. That is why there's no talking allowed in here, in Kripalu Bhavan, because we're not here to socialize. We are here to talk about God, to think about God, hear about God. We are here so that we come to the temple, we go to temples, so that our love for God may increase. So especially when we go to a temple or when we spend time in our puja room, and in fact, all the time during our daily activities, we should be doing Roopdhyan. We do Karm Sanyas Sadhana, in which we do Roopdhyan. In other words, when you get away from all your worldly duties and chores and you spend some time in your puja room in front of God and Guru, and you sing bhajans and keertans, then do Roopdhyan. That is your devotion. But then even as you face your daily challenges, your daily chores, and then also do Roopdhyan. Think about Shri Krishna. Let me talk about Karma Sannyas first. Jagatguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj recommends that we do at the very least, 1 hour of sadhana. He recommends that we take out just 1 hour from our schedules every day, and we go off by ourselves, no one else around, and we do sadhana. We practice devotion with the help of bhajans and keertans. You can play the bhajan. You don't have to sing it yourself, but sing along or sing after the main singer. And do Roopdhyan. The mind will still go all over the world because we are accustomed to it. The mind is accustomed to going all over the world. We ask, why does my mind run around? Why? Why? Why not? We have made our mind, we have convinced our mind for countless lives, we have been convincing our mind that there is happiness in the material world. So the mind is fixed on the material world. It has become extremely, extremely attached to the material world. We don't even realize how deeply attached the material mind, our mind, is to the material world. Now we give it such a tall order. Now think about Lord Krishna. The mind says, I don't like to think about him. I want to think about the world. What are we to do? Should we just give up and waste this precious opportunity that we have been given as a human? Oh no. That would be the greatest offense that we can commit. So what are we to do? We are to do Roopdhyan. We should use bhajans and keertans, sweet bhajans and keertans, and we should use them to do Roopdhyan. And when the mind goes away to the world, it invariably will, then we should put Lord Krishna wherever the mind has gone. Please pay attention to this point. When you are doing devotion, you're trying to do Roopdhyan, don't be disturbed that your mind is going away somewhere. Just observe the mind. Where are you going? Oh mind, where are you going? I'm going to the mall. Why? There's happiness that's sold over there. There's happiness in all sorts of stores over there. I'm going to go to the shoe store. I'm going to go to the clothing store. I'm going to go to the ice cream store. Happiness is sold in the mall. I'm going to go to different stores. That's what I like doing. You're looking for happiness, are you? The mind says, of course. Well, let me take you to Krishna. Do you know that he is happiness? Anando brahmeti vejanat. He is happiness. Jo anand sindhu sukh rashi si karte trailokya upasi. So sukh dham ram asnama akhil lokdayak vishrama. He is happiness and he provides happiness to whoever wants it. So, oh my mind, shall we go to Krishna? We coax the mind to go to him, to go to Krishna. After some time, the mind says, I want to go to the world. It goes. So what are we to do? We become flustered, we become frustrated, we get angry at the mind, and this is a bad idea. To get angry at the mind, to become frustrated with the mind is a bad idea because our mischievous mind becomes even more mischievous. What we should do is to let the mind go where it's going, just observe it quietly, don't judge it, just observe it, and quietly think about Lord Krishna who is in the mall, or in the restaurant, in the casino, in India, as you've gone there, visiting loved ones. You've gone to some other country, just put Lord Krishna there, quietly. The mind will once again start thinking about Shri Krishna. Every time the mind runs away, you put Lord Krishna wherever the mind has gone. This is a very simple technique, right? Simple technique. And we have a tendency to think that something so simple cannot be so effective. But actually, this is the most effective technique. Wherever your mind goes, put Lord Krishna there. Jahan man jaye, wahin pe man mohan ko le jaiye. Put Lord Krishna wherever the mind goes. This way, there are two benefits that we will reap. One is that our mind will then once again think about Shri Krishna. Secondly, we will become accustomed, gradually, we will become accustomed to think that every place is pervaded with Shri Krishna's presence. Every person has Lord Krishna in him, in her. Every creature has Lord Krishna living inside. Every object has Shri Krishna. Every particle of the world has Shri Krishna living in it. Every particle is pervaded by Shri Krishna. Two huge benefits that we will receive. So this is Karm Sanyas Sadhana in a nutshell. Then there is Karm Yog Sadhana. When you are doing your chores, you are doing whatever you do in life, just think about him in the beginning, every hour, on the hour, as you are performing your works. Whether you're working in the office or in the field outside somewhere, whether you are working at home or in the hospital, whether you're a student or a teacher, it doesn't matter what you do throughout the day, but get your mind accustomed to thinking of him every hour on the hour for a tiny moment, that's all. Tiny moment. Put on the alarm if you need to. We have so many gadgets today, and it's all very exciting that we should find it. It should be very much easier for us today, more than ever before, to think about Shri Krishna. These gadgets can be very helpful to us. Rather than becoming more worldly using these gadgets, why not use these gadgets to become more spiritual? You can put on the alarm. Every hour the alarm will go off. And what does that mean? I must think about my Lord. I forgot about him for an hour. So think about him. Then another hour passes, and once again, you think about him. Think about Shri Krishna. Your work will not be disturbed, and you have done devotion for that one moment. And we are trying to accumulate moments. Moments turn into minutes. Minutes turn into hours. Hours turn into days. Days into weeks. So you get the idea. We are accumulating devotion. We should be very greedy. As a greedy man hoards his wealth. As a greedy man thinks, let me get more money here, from there. In the same way, we should become greedy where time is concerned. Let me grab this 1 minute to think about Shri Krishna. I have 2 minutes. I will think about him. I'll do Roopdhyan. I have an hour. I'm in a plane. I'm in a flight or on the train or in the bus or in the car. I have nothing to think about, nothing to do. Let me think about him. Let me do Roopdhyan. It's Sunday today and it's a lazy day. I'm just relaxing on the sofa, on the couch. Let me do Roopdhyan side by side. Jagatguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj says, become greedy in this way. Just like we try to save money. You know, it's Black Friday and some Monday, I forget the name. Which one? Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday, and let's go. And it's so exciting, and there are so many people. We're trying to save money. I could get that TV for $500, but now it's going for $250. I mean, 50% saving, and we feel so good about it. Sometimes people, just to save $3, they'll use $5 of gas to go through a store and to get something cheaper with $3 because it makes us feel good. I'm going to save myself some money. We should feel good about saving time. Let me save this time. It's so exciting. I saved 3 minutes. I saved 3 minutes. People are going to say, you're crazy. You don't have to tell anyone. Tell yourself, let me save these 3 minutes. Let me save these 5 minutes. Time is so precious. We have so little of it. Just a few days ago, a devotee who's been devotee since birth, he was born into a family of devotees. At the age of 25, he suddenly lost his life. He wasn't ill. There was nothing wrong. Just one day he got up, and he didn't know he was going to die that day. His family did not know. And some people die in their sleep. We don't know when death is coming. We don't know how much time we have. Can anyone think that a 25-year-old will die? It happens, but we don't think about it. We don't even think we're going to die at 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90. Our mind doesn't go there. But we should accept that time is short. As it is, life in Kali Yuga is very short. Our lifespan is very, very short. We have a short, small window of opportunity in which to get the most important work done. As Sri Maharaj Ji would often say, पहले भगवत प्राप्ति कर लो, फिर और काम करते रहना. First you attain God, then you can do everything else. This is the most important work. We need to do Roopdhyan. We need to save time. We need to do our work in the least amount of time possible, so that, worldly work, so that we may do the important work. We should not deprive ourselves of sleep, but we shouldn't sleep too much. Well, who says 12 hours is too much? Scriptures say it's too much. Saints explain to us that that's too much. 6 hours a night is a recommended sleep. And I've told you this story before, I'll tell you again. A devotee said to Sri Maharaj Ji, he had heard me saying that 6 hours of sleep is a recommended amount of sleep. And where did I hear it from? I heard it from my guru, Sri Maharaj Ji. So when this young man, he heard this, he went to Sri Maharaj Ji and he said, Maharaj Ji, I have heard that 6 hours a night is sufficient. That is the recommended amount, but I feel sleepy all the time throughout the day. And he was hoping that Sri Maharaj Ji would allow him 1 more hour. Sri Maharaj Ji heard his case, and the judgment he gave was this. Son, the 6 hours a night that recommended sleep is for those who have nothing to do with God or sadhana. Beta, you are a sadhak. For you, 5 hours is enough. For a sadhak, there's even more strict rules. So we should not deprive ourselves of sleep, but do we really want to waste? Should we waste so much time in sleeping? The mind gets accustomed to however we mold it. The body becomes accustomed to however we mold it. I remember when I went to live in Mangar, in Sri Maharaj Ji's birthplace, and our ashram, my home, spiritual home. It was very, very hot in the summer season. And Sri Maharaj Ji deliberately told me not to leave Mangar, and he did not ask me to go to Masuri ashram where he was. He wanted me to suffer the heat in Mangar so that I may become accustomed to living in extreme heat. In those days in Mangar, we did not have electricity all the time. So sometimes even the fan, which did nothing much to alleviate the situation, even the fan would go off because the electricity wasn't there all the time. It was a very small village. Over a period of time, now I go there and I think I'm living in luxury because there's even an air-conditioned room that I live in, and I have hot water now, cold water, and I feel like I'm living in luxury, and I do feel a little guilty. But the fact is that we should get our body used to the hardships. Otherwise, the body will become very soft, very delicate, very fragile. And we should get our mind accustomed to discipline. We should have a disciplined mind. We should work at it. Sadhana, the practice of sadhana, it disciplines our mind. Our mind becomes accustomed to thinking about Shri Krishna. So Karm Sanyas Sadhana and Karm Yog Sadhana both are necessary. You see, in the Bhagvat Gita, Shri Krishna recommends both of them. He says at one point to Arjun, be a karma sannyasi. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. This is in the 18th and the final chapter of the Gita. Arjun, renounce all duties, all obligations, and surrender to me alone. That would be karma sannyas sadhana. Let go of all your duties, obligations, all chores for just 1 hour and think of me alone. Because we are trying to shape our mind. We are trying to get our mind in shape. That's why. And the second thing he says is in the Gita also, he says, be a karma yogi. Do karma yoga. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Fight the battle. That's your duty as a kshatriya. Fight the battle. But at the same time, do Roopdhyan. Think of me at all times while you do your duty. That would be Karm Yog Sadhana. Do your chores, you are working in the world, you have to, because you have a body, you need to work, you need to study, you need to get a job, you need to run a business, you need to do something or the other. But at the same time, Bhagwan says, to think about him. So Roopdhyan is to be done not only when we do Karm Sanyas Sadhana. Roopdhyan is with Karm Yoga as well. We need to think about him every so often during the day as we are going about our daily activities. Are you cooking? Good. You have to cook for yourself and your family. Well, think about Shri Krishna as you are cooking. You're running your business? Great, do that. But think about him, because your business belongs really to him. Your house belongs to him. Your home belongs to him. You belong to him. And you're performing those chores for his pleasure. You see the turnaround, how we mold our thinking. You can think, well, every day I have to cook for my family. Oh, it's such a tedious chore. And it's so difficult to even come up with a menu every single day. It's so difficult. It has to be. And then cooking every day, it's such a tedious chore. It can be, but it can become a pleasure also when you think, I'm cooking for Shri Krishna. I'm cooking for Shri Krishna, and now cooking, the act of cooking, is a devotional act, first of all, then it's a delightful action. It gives delight because I'm cooking for my Lord. Cleaning the house, oh, who wants to clean? But I'm going to clean for my Lord because he lives in this house. I can't have him in a messy house. I'm doing everything for him. I'm going to sleep so that I may dream about him and so that I may think about him in the morning when I get up to do my sadhana. Add Shri Krishna, add God to everything. I'm studying for him because I want to make him proud. I'm working so that I may serve him financially. I am doing this work physically because he will be pleased if I do this. So Roopdhyan is the first word in devotion, and it is the final word in devotion. Without Roopdhyan, without the mind thinking loving thoughts about God, we have no devotion. There's no devotion. वो भक्ति ही नहीं है जिसमें भगवान में प्यार ना हो, भगवान का रूप ध्यान ना हो. So we need to do Roopdhyan, and God has made it so easy for us because we can use our own likes, preferences to think about him. If there is at all a uniformity in Roopdhyan that various devotees of Shri Krishna have done, it would be only this, that each and every one of them has placed a peacock feather crown in his hair, right? Peacock feather. No one has ever placed feather of let's say a pigeon or a crow or a parrot in Shri Krishna's mukut, right? Do you ever hear that, oh, that saint is talking about not more mukut, tote ka pankh ka mukut, like a parrot feather crown. When we talk about a feather crown, it's a peacock feather crown. So that is about the only thing that everyone's Roopdhyan has in common. If you do indeed put a feather in his hair, you don't have to. But all of the saints who have done Roopdhyan, they have put a peacock feather in the crown, in the hair. Other than that, everybody has done Roopdhyan differently. Some have thought about Shri Krishna as having a round face, some as heart-shaped face. Some of them have thought about Shri Krishna to be very, very dark. Some have thought about Shri Krishna to be very, very fair. Some have thought him to be blue complexioned. Some have thought him to have blue eyes, some brown eyes, some gray eyes, eyes of every color, every possible size, height and weight. Everything is different because we all have our own unique ideal of what beauty is. What is beautiful to you? I may not agree with you. You may not agree with me. And so how can everyone be thinking about Shri Krishna in the same way? That's not realistic. We have been given the freedom. Yena kena pyupayena manah Krishne niveshayed. There are two verses, they are almost the same. And one is in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu scripture, one is in the Bhagvatam. I recited one earlier and now almost the same, very similar one now. Meaning no matter how you do it, just think about Shri Krishna. There are no hard and fast rules about what he looks like, how you should think of him, what ornaments you should put on him. The recommendations or the suggestions we have been given by saints, it would be great if we could use those suggestions, but if you want to create an altogether different Roopdhyan, you are free to do so. Who gives us the freedom? God gives us the freedom. So we should use this freedom to do Roopdhyan. And that way we will be practicing devotion in the true sense of the word. Remember, Manera Smarana Pran. Mahaprabhuji says, Roopdhyan is the very life of devotional practice. So let's all be diligent in doing Roopdhyan. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki. Let's have more enthusiasm in your jai, please. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.